sometimes we cry.
This is where we get real about being human. The slip-ups, the regrets, the bad calls, and the funny stories we'd rather forget. Sometimes the worst mistakes are the best. But at the end of the day, we're all just losers. I'm your host, Josh, and this is The Great Mistakes.
For my great successes and my great mistakes.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Josh. Welcome back to the Great Mistakes podcast. I got a longtime friend here, Doug
Who knew you were a
Kiesewetter.
long-term friend until tonight when you were like, do you remember when we deployed together in 2011? I was like, no.
Hey, when you live in the gray, no one knows you're there. Co-founder of Soflete, etc.
Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
I do say etc. a lot.
I am a jack of all trades, master of none.
Trade of all jacks. Me too, brother. Welcome.
Dude, it's been a good day. I have to say, you do indeed roll out the red carpet. Like Dalton, Georgia, did not know what was happening to it today.
They didn't know Doug was coming. I only did that for you, okay?
Wait, that's not true because I wouldn't have. I wanted to come on the podcast, but when you told me it was an in-person podcast, I was like, dude, that involves effort. And then like you harassed me significantly about it, and I was like, I'm being flaky right now. And then Alex told me, he was like, I went on that podcast and Josh rolled out the red carpet and it was an awesome experience and you should do it. And I was like, shit. Now, not only do I feel like an asshole for avoiding you, but I feel like an asshole because Alex is like, it's a great experience. And then I drove down here and I showed up and it's like freaking beautiful boutique hotel, hanging out, doing cool guy stuff, got to meet all your family, got to go to soccer practice with your kids, you know, like it was a good time.
That's not a cheap experience, by the way.
And even better is I mostly appreciate the fact that somewhere during the evening when your wife was like, hey, don't you have to be somewhere tomorrow? And you were like, no. And I was like, maybe check your calendar.
We got to shoot a podcast.
And I was like, oh, I'm ready to do it tonight. And,
well, the thing is, like,
here we are. We're doing this tonight.
I don't bring people here that I wouldn't hang out with and drink a beer with.
And by God, we have hung out and had a couple beers.
One, maybe, if that. But
two, mostly.
Or 20. Either way, like I don't want to bring people here who I wouldn't hang out with or have a beer with. And like I don't give a fuck if you have $1 million. You're not coming on here unless
God, I wish I had
fucking like
$1 million.
you. I know. Well, that's what they paid me. But it's a good place. It's a good town. That's one thing like I like to speak about is community. Like every guy needs the same shit. He needs a few things. You know, he needs to feel strong. He needs to feel connected. He needs to feel like he's in charge of his life. He's got to have a sense of community. And that's one thing that like I've slowly built around here. Manny Bezos is a part of it. And hell yeah, dog. Like you got to have a sense of community.
A lot of that is built by guys though, right?
Yeah.
I hate to reference this, but like when I was in my 20s, I was very plugged into a community of, I don't even know how to say this. I'm fairly certain that the word is fratire. Are you familiar with Tucker Max?
Yeah, I know the name. Oh, the book.
Yes.
Holy shit, yes.
So Tucker was a...
Tucker, I hope they serve beer in hell?
Yes.
Oh,
Tucker,
man. I read that in jail, by the
Tucker
way.
is a good friend of mine.
No way.
Was and is. Yeah. Tucker, brother, I will happily introduce you.
Okay. All right.
Tucker is a homesteading family guy now. He has a couple properties. He's got one in East Tennessee, so not that far from here.
Okay.
And dude, Tucker's an interesting guy across the board, but he was like in his development phase. He'd just written I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell. He was like, it was before the movie. He lived with me for a little while. He worked in the oil field with me.
Dude, that is crazy. The shit I learned about my friend. I had no idea you knew him.
But what was interesting is that in a lot of ways, like Tucker was both the downfall and the buildup of who I was as a person, because like at the time he reinvigorated a lot of my worst vices, where it was like, oh, it's okay to be like this self-involved kind of like piece of shit dude that does whatever he wants. I was modeling my life after the worst aspects of what he represented, but he had so much like actual wisdom in some of the things he said. And like a lot of it was like, hey, if you want to be surrounded by really smart, good dudes, you have to be a smart, good dude. So like when
Preach.
when we're like build community, it's like, yes, build community, but you have to reach up.
Yeah.
If you're hanging out with the worst people that you know, you're gonna be the worst.
They will keep you there, brother.
And so like you have to find people who are doing great things and gravitate towards them. And you can't just gravitate towards them by just hanging out with them. You have to like actually contribute. You have
gotta
to
do the same shit.
Not just the same. You have to bring something to the table, right? Like our friendship isn't based on like us being the same person, which it seems as though in many ways
Right,
we have a lot of similarities, right?
Yeah.
But it's about being like, hey, I do these things really well, and I'm going to do these things really well. I know you don't do those things really well, but this is what I'm into, and you do other things well, and you do those things well, and we bring different things to the table. Like
Find a commonality.
It might be being, buying dinner or buying some drinks. It might be like, I'm really good at table games. It doesn't really matter. You have to find somebody who's passionate about a thing and develop a relationship with them and gravitate towards them. So like when you're like, community is important, absolutely. Being strong, yeah. I've spent the last 20 years trying to be more fit. I wasn't fit when I joined the Army. I was a 120-pound weakling, and I've constantly
fucking
looked
small.
at... Dude, I was tiny. I don't even want to talk about it. I was tiny. But I surrounded myself with guys who were world-class athletes.
Fuck yeah.
Who still are world-class athletes, even though we're getting older. Like, some of the dudes that I looked up to when I was a Q Course student are still the strongest, most fit dudes in the whole world. And
Well, you got to have idols.
dude, they're in
you
their
know?
50s and they're crushing
That's
it.
one thing that like I'm happy and proud about is, I may not be good at a lot of stuff, but I try to bring people around me that are just fucking amazing. And what I'm happy about is like guys like you, guys like whoever. I'm not going to say names, but
inspires you to do more. Like it doesn't matter. When people are like, "Oh, you're really strong," not strong enough, and they're like, "Well, what do you mean?" I'm like, "It doesn't. There's not a number that's strong enough for me. Like, I want to be as strong as X person, who I will never be as strong as.
Yeah.
But that's my friend, who I am like, who's coaching me, who's making me bigger. Like when I joined SF. I saw these big dudes in special forces, and I was like, I want to be like that. Where do I get steroids? And like my roommate at the time, who's a 4th degree black belt in jiu-jitsu now, like I'm assuming maybe 5th degree. I don't know how this goes. Like
I have no idea.
He's
my sister's a purple belt. That's all I fucking know, dude.
He's literally one of the best heavyweight jiu-jitsu guys in the world, right?
Okay.
And I remember being
It's
like
Tim Kennedy.
No.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Kicked Tim Kennedy's ass. Alan Shabaro is the guy's name.
Okay.
Alan literally looked at me and he was like, "You want to be big like me?" He's like, "Take a year and eat the way I tell you to eat and train the way I tell you to train. And if you still want to gain weight at the end of a year, I'll hook you up with some supplements." And I was like, "Yeah, okay."
That's the right answer.
Dude, I put on 30
That's the
pounds
right
just
answer.
on clean living, eating the way Alan told me
Yeah.
to eat. And at the end of that time, I still jumped on the diving board. You know what I mean? I was like, what do I need?
I get the same question a lot, like because I'm a medic and I was a medic, whatever, and I do things, and research peptides and stuff. And guys are like, "Hey, man,
What's the cheat code?"
They're like, I'm thinking about doing like this, and this, like testosterone and this, and I'm like, whoa, hold up. Have you tried sleeping 8 hours, drinking water, eating this food, training consistently every motherfucking day of your life?
4 times a week minimum.
Right, and taking creatine and all this other shit, protein intake. Once you do those things for X amount of time, get at me, and maybe I'll guide you on some shit,
It's hard because a lot of guys want the easy thing. Yeah. And they think that, like, dudes who are jacked, like, dude, it's super funny because, like, I don't think I'm jacked, like, at all. I think I'm like a regular, like I think I'm like the middle of the road. This is where we need to be. I look at dudes around me and I'm like, oh man, if I would actually be dedicated.
Well, if you walk outside, you're like,
I'd be that guy, Oh, if I was actually dedicated, maybe I'd do these things, right? I just think it's funny when I think it's real. You guys need to be strong. Guys need a sense of community. You guys need a passion. But those are all things that require work.
Yeah.
It's not,
or at least conversation.
It's not something that starts and finishes. It's not like I want to be this thing and I'm going to be it. It's a time lapse thing, and it requires commitment and focus. And so like when guys are like, oh, hey, I want to do this thing. I'm like, brother, it's 90% mental, but the 10% that isn't mental is just grinding it out.
Well, it's consistency.
Yep.
And you got to have conversations. And that's the thing. Like, a lot of people don't know how to communicate nowadays. So it's like, before cell phones or whatever, like, you would go out to the gym and you would, like, see people that were big and you would talk to them. Or you would, like, go to the fucking...
We still do that. Every big guy at the gym, I'm like, what's up, bro? And he's like, what's up? And he's like, just trying to be like you. And I'm just trying to be like you, bro.
I still do the same thing.
Best compliment you ever get is from like just a Jack Diesel black dude who's got veins popping out.
Well,
like,
you'll never be him.
Trying to be like you, bro. And I'm like, my heart pumps so strong for you, my friend. Like,
but either way,
literally go home and wish I could look like you.
It's just like having conversations. Like the community thing we talked about.
Yep.
It's okay to walk into a place and want to know somebody and what they do and say, hey, do you own this place? Are you the manager? And just having a conversation like...
Well, mentorship and like community are they're common, right? Where it's like, if you want to do a thing, you need to find somebody who's good at it. Like, I have guys reach out to me all the time that are like, oh, hey, teach me how to hunt. And I'm like, I don't really know how to hunt. I find guys who know how to hunt and I ask them, hey, would you like to go on a hunt? Do you want to do this thing? Like, my company's putting a thing on. We're doing a deal. Can you come with me? Teach me how to do a thing. I don't know anything about hunting turkeys or whatever. Like, my dad didn't raise me to know that. I learned it from other guys who know. So being able to say, I don't know how to do something and then be like, please show me.
Oh, that's so hard for people to do, to say, I don't know.
It's so easy,
I'm not good at this.
It's so easy.
I never did that,
Yep.
or I'm not strong enough.
But it's not embarrassing.
Yeah, it's
literally
okay.
Like, hey, man, it's okay to not be good at it. It's funny.
I'm not good at shit.
Today, when I was driving down here, I did like an Ask Me Anything. And one of the things someone asked me was like, what's the biggest myth about the teams that you've ever heard? And I didn't answer the question because it seems too in-depth for me to answer. I was like, I don't really know how to answer that. I think one of the biggest myths is that we all know how to do everything that most guys don't know how to do intrinsically. Like, we're trained to do things like, oh, we got jacked into the system and we know how to fly helicopters and shoot guns and like do all these things. And it's like, look, we don't really know how to do much very well, but we knew how to do a lot of things poorly.
You're trained to learn.
It's a mile wide and an inch deep. Having a curiosity to learn, having an interest in doing things, being open to saying, I don't really know how to do this thing. Can you please show me? Having someone who is good at it teach you how to perform at a base level and then kind of grow it on your own. Being autodidactic. Like, I know that's a super like nerd word, but like being able to teach yourself. Being like, hey, this is something I'm interested in, right? Like, nerd confession. I don't know shit about table gaming. I'll mention it again. I've always wanted to learn how to do Dungeons & Dragons or whatever else. It seems cool.
Nerd.
Yeah, nerd's right. But I find people who know how to do that, and I'm like, hey, who wants to be a lore master and fucking play a game with me at their house? Like, it seems cool to me. Same thing with lifting weights. Like, I found guys who were good at lifting weights, and I had them teach me how to do it. I wouldn't have known how to shoot a gun to save my life, but I went to shooting competitions, and I had guys who were grandmasters who didn't see me as a threat teach me. Yeah, I failed every time I went. I still never placed well or won anything in a shooting match, but every time I go to a shooting match, I squad with GMs, and I have grandmasters teach me how to shoot.
Yeah.
Like, every single thing that I want to do. Like, when I got put on a mountain team, like, I'm afraid of heights, dog. Paralyzed.
Same.
I hate heights.
Yeah.
I got put on a mountain team.
I'm afraid of everything in the military.
My junior medic played Celine Dion every time I clipped in because he knew that I was about to have trembly legs and just be a god.
Did it just make you dance?
Bro, it made me so, like, I was paralyzed. I was paralyzed by fear. I didn't want to disappoint people, but, like, it didn't matter. I was scared of heights, so I'd get halfway up a pitch and just be like a bitch. And he'd play Celine Dion, and it was humiliating. And so what did I do? I joined climbing gyms. I started climbing indoors aggressively. And I started to overcome that aspect of fear of heights. I met climbing mentors. I started climbing
Well,
outdoors.
you learn from other people.
I started, dude. I was the first dude to lead climb on my team, and everybody on my team who I love dearly, they're my worst critics. Like they will be the first ones to be like, Doug, you suck. They were literally like, hey man, you went from being the worst guy on this team to the best guy on this team in terms of climbing, and it's because I was scared of heights. I still don't like heights.
Right on.
I still don't fucking love heights.
Well, that's something that like you learn from other people, right?
Every single time.
You took a fear and you found a person and you said, help me adapt to this. Let me learn.
If you have a shitbox car and you can't afford to work on it, okay, cool.
That's fine. You hire a guy to do that.
No, just meet somebody who knows how to work on cars and have them teach you how
if they're
to work
good
on
at it.
and understand. Some people grew up in an environment where their dad, who probably was abusive, yelled at them when they held the flashlight wrong, but they learned how to work on cars watching their dad curse out the car. I am the guy cursing out the car.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I'm like, why don't you hold that fucking flashlight right, kid? Also, those kids learned along the way because they were part of the process. Is it trauma? Who knows? I'm not really great at talking about the 21st century thing, but
who knows what is or isn't nowadays,
The reality is they were part of an experience and watched something happen and learned about it. I learned how to fish from a grumpy old dude. I learned how to work on cars from a grumpy ass dude. I learned how to climb from multiple grumpy ass dudes. When I look back, grumpy ass dudes were the people that taught me how to do things. I appreciate grumpy ass dudes. They've been my guides through a lot of things.
Yeah.
Same asking questions. Somebody asked what the best one-day shooting course was, and I was like, Matt Pranka, hands down.
Yeah.
Dude, Matt is a dickhead. Matt is literally one of the meanest dudes on the planet.
I mean, once you get so good at something and then you get tired of the same questions, dude, I think that's when you turn into an ass.
Well, I posted that thing when it was like, I was like, maybe you won't like Matt, or maybe Matt won't like you, and maybe you won't feel good about yourself after you do the thing. And Matt messaged me. I was like, you and I would be friends after the course. And I was like, Matt, that's because I receive negative feedback really well.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
I know I suck.
Dude, and I know I would be better after a day with Matt than I would before the day with Matt. Because Matt is a really great instructor.
Humility. Another thing about life. You got to be humble. You have to understand that if you go into anything that you're doing, you cannot go into anything thinking that you know everything about it or that you're good at something. But even if you're better than someone.
But that's the message that's taught.
I know.
We all watch TV and we all see a kid who doesn't know anything, who's an underdog, who just happens to be genetically better than other people and discovers his gift and then magically becomes a grandmaster at a thing.
Well, life's not a fucking cartoon.
Nope. Agreed.
And even I might be the best at something. Like I might be teaching a class about putting a fucking tourniquet on or putting your socks on, whatever it may be.
If you get shot,
I may be the best.
I'm not sure
at that.
I'm the best at putting a tourniquet on.
I may be the best at something, and if I'm teaching a class, man, and I'm like, "Hey, da da da," and someone's like, "I think you should do it this way," I don't shut them down. I'm like, "Man, that's a fucking great idea. That's a great point."
Or maybe it's a terrible idea, but we should talk about it.
Let me tell you how I would do it. You don't. Let people think that they're fucking smart, and then push them in the right direction, right? So
I think that when we talk about the things that guys need in our society writ large, we ignore the work. We're very social media oriented, and we see guys who've made it, and we think that there's no steps between where we
haven't made it
and where they are. We'll never make it.
Yeah, I'm nobody.
This is the best part.
I got a few followers, and
dude,
I post cool pictures.
I'm super happy in the house that I have. I love my dogs. I love my kids. I am the most blessed person that I know. And I look around and I'm like, still struggle to make bills.
Well, the funny thing is, I've got cool pictures and shit, and people follow me, but I'm a regular motherfucker. And I'll post a picture because it's aesthetic and it looks cool, and then people are like, "Oh my god, your fucking life is amazing" or whatever. And I'm like, "No, dude, I'm just."
To be fair,
that's the problem.
Our lives are amazing.
It's amazing because of the people we know.
This is a Buddhist thing, right? I hate to get into the Buddha thing.
Let's go.
But it's a release of attachment. I cannot change the things that have already happened. I can only apologize for them. I cannot truly influence the way other people act in the future. I can only influence what I do right now. And I'm not a Buddhist. by any means, but a Buddhist pushed this to me when I was in one of my highest frustration points, where I was like, I feel terrible about the things I did in the past. I'm trying to make up for them, and like I'm worried about the future. And he's like, but what about now? I'm like,
I've heard this exact same thing.
but what about now, right? Like, but now sucks. What I'm doing right now sucks. I'm fucking miserable. I'm fucking sad.
Yeah,
I'm unhappy, and I'm unfulfilled. And he's like, but now is the best part, dog. And
It's
I'm like,
the only part you can experience.
fuck me, man. And then it's like,
Yeah.
dude, it's when what was it? Who was it? Oh Jesus, whatever the American author was that was like,
Mark Twain.
no, I wish it was a Mark Twain.
Shit.
And it might not even be an American author now that I think about it. It was who wrote Fahrenheit?
That's the only
who wrote
that's the only
Fahrenheit
author I
451?
know. Fahrenheit 451?
Yeah.
Shit, I don't know, dude. I
He
can't
was
even
like-
barely read.
He's like, I encourage people to sit back and say, this is nice. Like, like, oh.
That's how I live, brother.
yeah. Like,
I mean, it really is.
even when things are terrible, when like the walls are pressing in and the cube is tiny and you don't feel like you can freaking breathe, you gotta
Guess
go,
what?
at least I'm warm.
I got a bag of Doritos.
This is super nice. You know what I mean? Like, and everybody looks at me and goes, I talk to people all the time, especially people in their 20s, and they're like, well, it's easy for you to say that you've done X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, yeah, but when I was in my 20s and I was in Afghanistan trying to figure out what it was like to be on a team, I was fucking paralyzed by a variety of like insecurities. Like, I didn't have fear in Afghanistan. I was worried that I wouldn't live up to what my seniors and the people that I looked up to wanted me to be. So it's not like, oh, cool, well, you were a Green Beret in Afghanistan and you did X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, yeah, on the same ladder you're on. You just haven't chosen to do a thing that was bold enough to feel like it was scary. I don't care if that thing is like starting a Scentsy business or like doing something on your own that feels like it's putting you out at your limits and you can fail and suffer the consequences. Do the thing.
Do the thing, dude.
Do whatever it is.
Take a risk. The thing is taking a risk, whether it be starting a business or staring at bullets in fucking Afghanistan. Do it.
They're all the same.
If-
You're
and-
just
and-
looking at you're doing mental calculus. You're saying this thing
Yeah.
is going to hurt me,
Yeah, man.
and I'm going to do it.
And the
Travis
funny-
Pastrana doing a big thing, like, dude, it's awesome. Like, Travis is he was a freaking monster.
Yeah.
He is, dude. He does crazy shit. Also, you do crazy shit every day. The level might be different, but the more you push yourself, the more you inoculate yourself to the idea that something is going to hurt you, and you're willing to take more risks to get more reward.
I would say just compare it to starvation. That's what I do.
Oh, 100%.
Like,
'Cause it
I
goes the
look
other
at my
direction
life,
too, right?
and I'm like, you know what? Okay, can I borrow $5,000? Can I go to the bank and get this? Can I do this to achieve this? And if I get that much, I'll get this much. And if I get this much,
Oh,
I'll
bro,
get this
Dave
much.
Ramsey's going to be
And
so
guess what?
disappointed in you.
No, fuck Dave Ramsey, dude. He doesn't know how to leverage debt. He's
I mean,
a pussy.
to be fair, Dave Ramsey seems to be doing quite well by taking money from people that he tells to be responsible.
He's doing well, but I'm pretty sure I read some shit to where he borrowed some money to get his wealth. So I don't know if it's real or not. Manny Bezo, can you pull it?
Oh, Dave Ramsey's about to get
See if-
Ramsey's about to
can
get
pull up
roasted on this podcast.
Chat GPT or whatever we use now. Fucking Dave Ramsey, did he borrow money to get where he is?
While he's looking this up, I just want to say, before this podcast, you asked me to write down 5 subjects. And I was like, fuck you, man. I don't even know what to do. And I just flipped over your 5 subjects card.
That's not mine.
Oh, this is the one you wrote.
I didn't write that.
First of all,
We got a break. All right. After this,
I can't wait to talk about this.
we do have exactly 1 minute.
I'm just going to start with the first one then. What are we talking about circumcision? I personally, from a Judeo-Christian heritage, have been led to understand that circumcision is healthier and cleaner. And I don't actually know if dudes collect anything in their foreskin because I've never had a foreskin to actually be able to speak to that. But I've been told that it is a health benefit. Also, I've spent my entire life being told by liberal white women that genital mutilation is a crime and that we should fight it in the third world.
For sure.
And I'm not sure also why we engage in genital mutilation in America. So I exist kind of on the fence in this one, where I'm like, I'm grateful to have been circumcised. I don't remember it. It's not a childhood trauma that I have. But also I kind of wonder if maybe it would be cooler if I had personality. Like, you know, if I had a hat and I could...
Imagine what you could put in there.
I don't know.
It's like a change purse.
Could you fit a 1/4 ounce inside of your foreskin?
You could probably fit 2 grams and 1 cigarette butt, from what I hear.
So it would be of value to me when I end up in prison.
Yes. And why would you want less dick?
I love that you put circumcision on this list, and I'm like, what heated debate are we going to have about
What
circumcision?
list, dude?
The list you wrote. Your second item is gambling. Am I supposed to take a pro or a con position on gambling?
I just wrote a fucking word down, dude.
I think gambling is fun if you have the money to do it. You should view it as a game, and as long as you're playing with money that you can lose, there's no
Money that you
downside.
have.
Yeah, money that you've allocated.
Is gambling
to a
legal
game.
in your state?
No. Well,
You live in North Carolina.
Skill games are, and if you're on,
What does that mean?
Games of skill are not games of skill. They typically exist in old
Skill?
gas stations that have been converted into like one-armed bandit.
Skill or scale?
Skill. Have you not seen the skill games places when you're driving down the road and there's like a flashing
You
neon
mean the
light?
7-Eleven that I stay at 14 hours a fucking day and drink Four Locos?
I spent a lot of time when I was younger at the VFW in Southern Pines, and they had gambling machines in the back. And I remember a guy hit like a $10,000 payday, and I was like, holy
And he made
shit,
back the
this is
$20K he
amazing.
spent?
And he goes, and I'm like celebrating. I'm like, dude, what a great day. This dude's fucking really made it. And he goes, I spent like 20 grand on this machine. And I'm like, well, congratulations.
You're like, damn, I need a cigarette, Dad.
Speaking of dads, Jesus, apparently I'm your dad now.
Fuck.
Yeah, you're going to
What
look at
do you
my
got?
list. My list is clearly more sensible because I am an adult and I was asked to be on a podcast.
So can you see at night?
So I currently work for a company that manufactures night vision in the United States.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
called
yeah.
Armasight, and it's awesome. We do thermals and night vision.
I'll take $20,000. Go ahead.
Nobody asked what Doug did for a living.
Okay.
No one knows because it changes fairly
'Cause
regularly.
Doug doesn't even have a job.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Trade of all jacks.
Yeah, dude, honestly, one of the coolest things, and this isn't necessarily about Armasight, but I'm assuming that most people that are watching this podcast are aware that I was involved with Soflete for a long time.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope
Oh,
so.
well, maybe
too.
not. I introduced you, though.
I
so,
will
yeah.
articulate. So some guys that I was friends with put together some programming, and were selling them as PDFs, and I owned a gym, and they didn't, because they just sold theirs. And so we filmed all of our content at my gym. And I was like, that company's going to fail. They were like, bro, I want you to be a 50-50 partner with me. Brent called me. He was like, I want you to be a 50-50 partner. I was like, brother, I am spread so thin right now. I can't do this thing.
Like foreskin.
But I have, like foreskin. The foreskin I don't have. And I was like, hey, but I'll help you any way I can, which is like my modus operandi. Like, hey, man, I am here to help my boys. So we filmed some content at the gym. Things were great. The company really took off. The gym did not. And I ended up being the first paid employee of this company called Soflete, which is Special Operations Forces Athlete, kind of all mishmash together. And we put together initially 2 programs, one for guys who wanted to be on teams and one for guys that were on teams. So a prep program and an operator program.
Yeah, yeah.
They sold so well that we were like, well, we should make more programs and we should sell more. We also realized that like selling a PDF was kind of the end of the business because
people could copy it.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
just pass it to your boys. Like we have these 2
Yeah.
programs, they're great. Like
I
just
literally,
pass them off.
I remember like getting sent like a stolen.
Always.
I don't fucking know who it was
we did it with
from, but
military athlete. We do all the things. We
I
used
think
to
it was like
pass them
it was
around.
like Mountain Athlete.
Yep, we used to pass that.
Did you guys make that?
No, right. That's Rob Shaw. Rob's actually a great dude.
I didn't. I followed it for a week and I was like, this is too hard. I'm just gonna fucking wing it.
Rob programs for alpinists. Rob is a beast, and
Yeah?
everybody that trains with him professionally is also a beast. But he writes programming for alpinists, and I think that's the biggest failing, especially early
I'm definitely
on.
not a
Alpinist?
Alpinist.
No,
because I just learned that word right now.
None of us are. And if you met a dude who climbed mountains professionally, you'd be like, I'm fit, I'm in shape, and then you'd be.
I've seen some hot chicks that like climb rocks with their shirts off, but they never show the front of their boobs because they're facing the mountain.
This is not that.
What a tease, though.
Alpinists are probably some of the best endurance athletes on the planet in terms of the fact that they're like doing siege climbing of all of these like glacial mountains.
Nice. Grips.
This isn't like what you're thinking. Like this isn't like free solo type climbing. This is like guys that
That's
are
what I'm
climbing
thinking about. Yeah.
Everest and stuff, right? Where it's like they're climbing real mountains, and it involves rock climbing, rope skills, a lot of talent, like a lot of like technical skills, all combined.
Yeah,
and
experience, knowledge.
Even the most experienced, knowledgeable dudes are dying on mountains because the mountain has a vote.
Dude,
the mountains are.
Did you see that thing where that fucking chick was like dying on top of the mountain?
No. Which one?
So this, I don't know, Manny Bezo.
What is it?
This is when I ask you to pull something up because I don't know about it enough to actually talk about it.
So that, I mean, if you climb Everest, there's bodies all up the slope.
So this lady,
you can't bring them down.
So this lady like climbed up and like was going up the stages and got to a place. She got injured, and she's like stuck there, and like,
nobody can take her down.
They had good comms and everything, and she like wrapped up, staying warm, and someone went up to fucking save her. So and then they both fucking died, and literally the fucking helicopter is like circling around the thing.
A lot of the time on real mountains, you can't get enough lift with helicopters. Ooh, you gonna read that?
What's the most recent?
Enlarge, enhance. No, you're good, Manny. We just have bad eyes. We're old now.
Yeah. Several women have died while
Mount Everest. Yep.
Well, I don't even know what mountain it was.
Here's the thing. What the point is?
I don't go up mountains.
If you climb glacial mountains, you're probably going to die eventually, right?
Yeah, it's not my thing.
No, and but it is an endurance sport because you are literally just climbing 4 hours with minimal oxygen. All to be said, Rob's background is mountain climbing, and he trains soft athletes as if they were alpine athletes, and we are not.
Well, you know, like Hape and Haste, right? Like, you can have a genetic ability to not have that problem happen.
I'm not even getting into that because that is a depth. That is a greater.
But
I will just say this, guys, because as someone who came from like a non-soft background and went to SF, like you.
Well, in May, look.
Yeah, May 2025.
A French woman died in Camp
4. IV. Camp 4.
Camp IV. That's 4 for Roman French. The details are limited.
I don't believe this is the point is.
So a chick.
Alpine climbing is going to kill you eventually.
Yeah.
Whether you're good or not. But
it might not.
Alpine climbers are absolutely.
If you're a woman, it might. I'm just kidding.
Alpine climbers are by far some of the best VO2 max. Like they're great endurance athletes.
Yeah.
Soft guys are typically bros who wanted to do a thing.
Yeah.
And don't have a huge amount of work capacity. They just have a lot of commitment and tenacity. We wrote programs for ourselves, for guys that wanted to be strong. Guys like, hey, dude, I mean, look, what's more important to you? Being able to climb a mountain or looking jacked when you take your shirt off?
Being able to kill like the most people I see.
In your head, because society tells you can't kill the most people. Also, I'm fairly certain that being jacked is more important to you than actually being able to kill people.
Yeah, I made that up. That sounded really cool, but I like to look good when I make it and stuff. Yeah,
everyone does. So
I want to have a small waist so my ding dong looks bigger.
And now we've touched the real heart of the issue. And we wrote practical programs for guys that were like, look, we've all done it. Like we've all gone through the program.
Well, there's like a place you have to be.
And we know what the place is, and we don't aggrandize it. We're literally like, we know what the minimum standard is, and we know that you're starting out, and the minimum standard is what you need to meet, and we need to get guys to the minimum standard, and then encourage them to train harder as they're part of the teams, right?
We'll be there, and stay healthy too.
So we wrote the programs, and the programs did well, and then we were like, we used a third-party app to put our program in because we didn't want it to get stolen and redistributed, and then we realized that the third-party app was taking 40 cents on the dollar for what we were making. So we were like, well, we'll do our own app because how hard can that be? The truth is, it can be very hard. And so like app development became
apps are not
big
cheap
thing for us.
Huh.
So when people are like, when I'm like, I don't know if people know where I came from. Well, we came from this community where we built a community around special operations, fitness for guys that wanted to do special operations, which we then figured was, as we realized, was more aspirational than practical, right? Like a lot of our customers are guys that either wanted to be soft or wish they had been.
Well, that's
or
where
were in other jobs. So it was like, okay, so we're writing programming for cops, firefighters, other people, and we want to keep them in their job and healthy and productive for a longer period of time.
Well, this is like a point that I try to talk about with guys that are military guys that want to start businesses, you know, whatever it may be. And that's kind of why, like, I'm kind of rebranding some of the things that I'm doing, and I guide my business partner on. It's like, okay, like we have a niche group of individuals we understand, we market to. However, like don't do like such a focused target marketing towards like military. Like if you know how to do something and it's applicable to other people in the world, expand your brand.
So it's
right?
It's weird, right? Because it's a catch-22 at that point, because you really do need to focus on your core market and understanding that the value of your product has larger cachet than your primary market, but you can't compromise your primary market. So you have to broaden as you're building steam. Like you have to build a core market, you have to stay true to your core market, and then you have to broaden it into other areas. And sometimes that's really hard.
It is. It's a traction you got to hold on to.
I only bring it up because I wanted to say, like, after I sold my equity in Soflete, I was looking for a new job for like almost a year. And I didn't know, like, the company was kind of like sitting there, like, on the precipice of a sale to an interested buyer. So I couldn't openly say, as one of the partners, that I was looking for a new job. But also, I was looking for a new job. You know?
It happens.
And so I'm like, what do I do? And reputation being everything, I finally announced that I was looking for a new job after a long period of interviewing and talking to people and trying to find a niche and see where I belong. And literally within 2 days of me announcing that I was looking for a new job, I had a friend be like, hey, he called his boss and was like, you should hire this guy. You know Soflete, right? And the guy was like, yes. So I got a call from a guy who I'd never met him before. Super awesome dude. Like, I'm really glad to work with him right now. And he was like, hey, you're the dude that did all the like marketing for Soflete. I was like, I'm one of the guys, you know?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, do you want to come work for me? And I'm like, well, I don't really know. Like, what does this talk about? And he was like, look, I want you to be yourself. I want you to do what you want to do, but I want you full time, and I want you to do marketing for us. So I took over a job as a director of marketing for a startup company, kind of. It's like an emerging business unit of a larger company called Optics Planet.
Okay.
And we own franchise brands, and one of the brands that we own in-house is Armasight. So we have night vision and thermals that we build in Tempe, Arizona. It's a super cool made in America brand. I work with great dudes.
Made in America.
Dude, yeah. It's funny, right? Everybody's complaining about tariffs. And for a long time, we were really struggling to compete with Chinese like technology because they were able to stay ahead of the curve on technology at a lower price point. And when tariffs came in, like suddenly we're actually at a lower price point than all of our Chinese competitors.
No shit.
Oh, dramatically lower. And it's like, hey man, we have some of the most durable products on the planet with like real-time
equal
updates.
Technology.
It's hard to say equal because
of the intellectual theft.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Well, not just intellectual theft, but more that like we have a company that's run in America, and we have American engineers, and we're using, thermal sensors and CPUs that are coming from like the technology is being produced sometimes in other countries and sometimes in ours, but we have a staff of engineers on site who are doing the work. And when I say a staff of engineers, I mean 5 to 10 engineers doing that work. The Chinese view thermal...
5 smart-ass motherfuckers.
Well, dude, when you talk about like the Chinese, they have tens of thousands of engineers, and they view thermal and night vision technology as a national asset.
Yeah.
And they're literally producing consumer-focused products at a rate that nobody can keep up with, and doing it using slave labor, so the price points are dramatically lower. So with tariffs kind of regulating the playing field, it's crazy to me to watch. Like I think I used to say all the time to guys, I'm like, man, if it was my money, I raise the best product on the planet for the money, dude. I mean, I say that as someone who works for Armor Sight. I no longer want to spend $6,000. Like when people are like, what should I buy? I don't reference them to a $6,000 I-ray unit. I'm like, we have a unit that's highly comparable to the I-ray unit for 2/3 of the price, made in America, that you can ship in, turn around, and get maintenance done on in 3 to 5 days. Suddenly, we have a very competitive product. It's no longer me saying, well, our product is $4,000 and I-ray's product is $4,000.
Did you get to this point because of the tariffs?
Honestly, the tariffs helped us dramatically.
The tariffs just like exposed that you were already doing?
No, I think that the tariffs really helped regulate what the actual costs of market development were for us. It's not that the technology, we're continuing to develop better products. Yeah. Every generation of product is better, but we do it at a pace that we can do as a small business. And when I say small business, it's still millions of dollars to develop that technology.
Chump change.
But we're like, hey, we need to upgrade our CPU. We need to upgrade our thermal sensor. Yeah. Okay, cool. We're going to do that. The Chinese do it quick. They turn on a dime. But getting it to the United States and selling it to the consumer market.
When are you going to just force a human to do some shit? And shit happens pretty quick.
And when the technology is a national asset, it's complicated. But I think the tariffs have been good for us in a variety of ways, just because it kind of regulated the price point in the market, where it's like, look, no longer do the Chinese make a better product that's more consumer focused for less. Now the prices are more representative of what the product is and how much effort goes into it. And, we're able to produce an on par product still. It might not have some of the bells and whistles, but it's a good product, and it's actually at a lower price point for a U.S. consumer than. Well,
that's when people start to you have to do the research yourself when it comes to governments and free markets, and how capitalism, communism, all that shit separates and intertwines, and how capitalism, free market. How it adapts.
That's
right?
That's a very nuanced topic as well.
Yeah,
because as fanboys who live in a market, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants L3 Harris. They want the government produced product that every special operator is using. Well, those products are produced for governments at a certain price point, and because of U.S. regulations, they can never be sold below what they're sold to the U.S. government, right? And because they're not easy to access, we'll use lasers as an example because they're not really tied to anything that I'm doing. Like aiming lasers. I'll use
simple it down. I'm
going to use a laser aiming module. If you want a laser aiming module for your weapon, and we'll use an INGAL, the next generation.
Let's just talk about just a product, make product terms.
I'm going to use one because I'm going to use the next generation aiming laser as an example because I think it's a very relevant deal, right? If I want a next generation aiming laser, there are specs within IR lasers and visible lasers and IR illuminators that are all regulated by the U.S. government. Those specs are duplicated in China. So if I want to buy an L3 Harris NGAL, first of all, they're not for sale to the U.S. because they exceed the next generation aiming laser, right? Okay. It's a small brick that goes on your gun and allows you to aim a weapon at night with night vision goggles on. Okay. If I want to buy one of those from L3, I can't. Because they're regulated. Because they're too high powered.
You have to have a license to buy something.
You have to be an agency. You have to buy it on a law enforcement letter to get a full power laser, right?
All right.
So if I'm going to buy one of those, hypothetically, let's say I think the sticker on them is $6,000. I'm probably high or low a bit, but let's just say it's $6,000, right? I can't buy one, period. But if I had an agency letter and I bought one now, so this is what we should talk about, right? There's a gray market.
Yeah.
They disappear. They fall off trucks. When you see them for sale on the internet, they're for sale for $7,500 because you can't buy one, period, right? The U.S. government can't buy one for less than $6,000 a unit. So you can't buy one on a letterhead for less than $6,000 a unit. But if I was to go and look at a variety of China manufacturers...
Why can't the government buy a product for less than a price?
Because they want to regulate what is happening. Look, this is a legal thing, right? If the U.S. government buys it for X number of dollars, the same product can't be sold for less to a civilian, even if it's not regulated. This is law. However, if I want to buy a different product made by a Chinese knockoff company that works almost exactly the same, that is tested, it's bench tested, hand manufactured, whatever, I can buy the same product for $450 off the internet.
So what would stop someone from doing that?
People do it all the time, but it says for airsoft use or whatever else.
Right.
And so guys are like, okay, it's a toy. It's not a toy. It's literally the same product. It just doesn't have L3 Harris's name on it. We've created a weird monopoly based on U.S. government involvement and what is being sold. So there's this gray area, right?
It's like research peptides. That's crazy.
We at Armacite are a prosumer company. We make pro-level products for consumers. We don't sell to the U.S. government on contract. We sell to agencies who want to buy the products, but we don't sell, like, we don't have a program of record. Our products aren't being sold to the U.S. government at a certain threshold price point that can't be sold under. We use Elbit tubes. We don't use L3 Harris tubes. So, like, we're actually able to sell products that are top tier products at a more reasonable price to a consumer, and we can make deals, and we deal in the free market space as was intended in capitalism, where it's like, hey, cool, we know what it costs to make a unit. We can give discounts, etc. So, like, technology is weird in that, right? Where certain technologies are regulated by the government and some aren't. It's been a really interesting experience, like, being in the space, not being able to talk about certain tech specs of foreign entities, etc., because of, like, laws and regulations in terms of, like, international trade agreements and things like that. You learn a lot along the way. But I mean, I think we make a great product. It's very interesting to see that product compete against Chinese competitors who are trying to figure out ways to do end runs around U.S. law to sell similar lower quality products, or in the terms of thermal stuff, similar higher quality products that are also exploiting loopholes in the U.S. market. So to me, I know a lot of people are gonna be like, you don't understand tariffs. And I'm like, cool, man. They've affected me positively. I'm grateful for them in a variety of ways because it's leveled the playing field, in some ways. I don't know. It'd be nice to have a completely open market where we can say, hey, man, I'm totally open with buying an iPhone that was built by Uyghurs who are enslaved. And I know that I'm doing it because I want a higher technology product at a lower price.
Well, I think that, the government has a position and a role to regulate things for safety for their populace.
Yeah.
But, if I could build something in my house, which obviously I can't build.
You can.
Fucking Josh can't build it.
You'd be shocked.
Today I cannot. Today it's fucking.
But if you watch enough YouTube videos,
9:49 p.m. I cannot.
But if you watch enough YouTube videos and you bought the parts, you could put these things together.
Yes.
You'd make mistakes, and it would cost you money.
The thing is, like, there should not be a problem with me building a product at my house, doing the same thing that Bob's Lasers does.
To be fair, there is.
Is there a company called Bob's Lasers?
No, but I mean, like, you could in fact do these things on your own if you want.
So I can build a fucking gun laser and sell it.
You can build it for yourself.
That's the problem. Why can't I do that?
If you call it a toy, I think you can probably get away with it. I think that at a certain point, though, much like peptides, someone's going to sweep in and be like, hey, you've sold too many of these, and you're horning in on the market.
You're helping people, and you're giving them something, and this is a problem.
Are we going to talk about peptides now?
We can.
It's my next topic that peptides.
You were trying to bench 225.
No.
For one rep.
All right, so
what happened?
In the last 3 years, I've had 5 years. I've had some significant tendon injuries, which I think is telling as I've gotten older that, like, when I was younger, it wasn't about tendons. It was just like my muscles weren't strong enough to lift things. And then I got to the point where I was strong and my tendons weren't strong enough to keep up with the ability that I had to lift, right? And
that's why I only work out my tendons.
I did things routinely in my regular life that stressed my tendons beyond where they should have been, and I induced small injuries that became larger injuries over time. And I'll use, like, the two most pertinent injuries that I've had in the last few years. One, I had a full distal bicep tendon tear, dual bicep tendon tear. And I got a scar here from
a long head,
from
short head.
Yep. Yeah. Both. Both gone.
That's a dual.
Rolled right up, right? And It was funny because I had what I believe I had a partial tear. There, we had a hurricane come through and a white oak fell on my property, and I cut it. It was blocking my neighbor's driveway. I went out with a chainsaw. I cut it into sections, and I was over ambitious into what size sections I cut it into. And I was like, I can lift this. And I got under it, and I lifted it up and put it into a large wheelbarrow. And when I did, I felt my bicep tendon pop. Like I felt like an electrical charge up my arm.
You didn't use your right hand.
Well, the funny part was, like, I looked at it and I was like,
I can see your,
Yeah, I mean, it's good now. You can see the scar where I tore it, where they did the repair.
Yeah.
But, like, when the hurricane came through, my bicep didn't roll up. I felt the hot electrical, like, it was like an electrical stimulus. I felt the tear, and I was like, fuck, I just tore my bicep. And I was like, whatever, I'm in the middle of this thing, I need to do it. So I cut the tree again in half, and I still lifted the pieces up and put them in the wheelbarrow, and I moved them where I needed to move them, right?
Yeah. It's always later.
But my bicep didn't roll up.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm good. Like, everything's fine. I knew I did this thing. It hurt. It was problematic. I didn't take peptides or anything like that. I just was cautious about how I trained.
Well, at that point, you needed some other shit.
Fast forward 2 months, right?
Yeah.
And I feel great again. And I'm back in the gym. And part of my training regimen was rack pulls. And, like, so we're not doing full motion anything, like, but we're doing heavy rack pulls.
Yeah.
And I think I had like 500 pounds on the bar, and I was doing rack pulls, and I was on my third set, and I was, at that point, I didn't have any reason not to do mixed grip. The only way to hold on to 500 pounds is to do mixed grip. So obviously, left hand is fully extended, and my right hand is overhand. And I'm doing rack pulls, and I think it was like 3 by 12 or something like that. And I was doing 500-pound rack pulls, and it felt great. And on my third set, my 11th rep, I felt it just let go. Like, it was like, nope, not doing it. It wasn't that I wasn't strong enough. It was just that my tendons were like, can't do this anymore, and full tore. And it rolled up, and it was, I went from being like, I'm not actually stressed. It's just a cold day in the gym, and I'm not sweating, to being soaked in sweat, just like immediately. And I knew what I'd done, and I walked right into the bathroom and looked in the mirror and saw that my bicep had rolled up to my shoulder.
You're like, damn, my arms will never be as
like,
nice as Josh's.
Bro, I was like, this sucks, right? Like, oh damn it, I'm gonna have this gimp bicep on this side forever.
Yeah,
and I, like, hot sweat, whatever. I went back and I unloaded my bar, put all my weight away, put my bar away, and I got in my truck.
Like a man.
And I quietly went back to my truck. I left the gym with my gym bag over my shoulder and drove straight to the ortho, the ER. I was like, the emergency ortho. I was like, hey, I just tore my bicep. They're like, how do you know? And I pointed to it, and they're like, oh yeah, you tore.
Because I have a torn bicep.
Yeah, they were like, you tore your bicep. And I waited. So surgery happened probably a week after the implement of injury. And somewhere in the week, I started taking BPC 157 and TB 500 from you. And, you know, my doctor, I told my doctor.
For research.
Yeah, I don't keep, yeah, sure. You have to say that. I was like, I heard this shit worked, and I'm willing to try anything, right? Yeah. And my team sergeant tore his left bicep 2 weeks before I tore mine. That's the only reason I knew about the emergency ortho.
Okay.
Because I had taken him to his surgery, and he was like, I love this place. It's great. So I go to the same place he goes. I had the same doctor. And I started BPC 157 and TB 500 probably 3 days after the injury. I ordered them. It took 3 days for them to get to my house, and I immediately started taking them. I went into surgery, and they fixed my shit. And, you know, it's awful. It's terrible, whatever. But it really wasn't that bad of a recovery. Like, I literally kind of came out of surgery, and I was like, it doesn't hurt that badly. Everything's fine. I followed PT procedures, and probably 3 weeks in, I was like, did I tear my bicep? Like, yes. Did I have surgery? Yes. Am I back to training? Also, yes. I have to be careful about this. Like, and I had a lot of scar tissue that was popping, and I kept thinking I tore my bicep. Yeah. But every time I go in for PT or check in with my doctor, they'd be like, dude, you are like months ahead of where you should be, right? And I'm thinking, this is an anomaly. I just happen to heal faster or whatever. And I'm telling my doctor the whole time, I'm on these peptides. I think they're helping me dramatically. And he's like, I can't tell you they are. I don't think they are. You know, because we don't have medical research to validate that this is helping you. Okay, cool. I don't know. 7 weeks after surgery, I'm already curling 80 pounds with both arms again. Like, I mean, my good arm's fine. My bad arm that I shouldn't be curling 80 pounds with, I'm curling 80 pounds with because it feels good, and I'm not mad.
It makes
about
me
it.
scary though. Still,
It was definitely the scariest, right? Because I didn't really know. I had a pec tear, being an idiot, being overzealous. I was like,
I remember this.
I was rolling with some dudes at Robin Sage. I shouldn't have been as involved as a role player as I was, but they weren't being aggressive, and I was trying to teach them a lesson, and it turned into me versus one, me versus two, me versus three guys, and I was egging them on, and I got in a weird bind, and I felt so strong that I was like, these pussies can't do shit to me. And I literally, like, flexed into them. And I was like, I'm going to flip these dudes. This is going to be great. Like, I just flexed into it, and I felt my pec rip. And I was like, fuck. And I told the kid that would hold me, I was like, hey, man, I'm about to be really compliant with you because I just tore my pec. And he was like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I just tore my pec. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's not your fault. And they were like, are you serious, dude? I'm like, oh, yeah. So serious. They loaded me on a stretcher, put me in the back of a truck. I continued to do what I was doing for like another 45 minutes. When they got me out of the truck, I was like, I got to drive myself to the hospital now. So I drove to the hospital, and I go back to the same emergency ortho, and they were like, you're back again? And I'm like,
yeah, I feel like I remember this incident, and I'm like, wait.
no, I hit you up and was like, hey, man, I need some peptides immediately.
Yo, can you stop? I think I texted you. I was like, you fucked up again?
But
like,
the funny part about it is this time around, right? I started peptides within a day of the implement of injury.
Yeah.
And I went in for the surgery, and they were like, hey, man, we're not sure that we can, like, reattach it. This is how these things go. Like, we're going to reattach it, but we don't know what the quality of the tissue is. We don't know how it's going to reattach, et cetera. And, like, I was like, okay, this is all part of the game now. I'm just playing along. But I started the peptide therapy almost immediately.
Well, there's starting early, and then there's starting late. And like what I try to tell people, if you're going to use peptides for research, and you have an injury, so if let's say you had an acute injury today, and if you have it,
just start it immediately. What's
If
funny
you
is
don't-
people are scared of doing the insulin needle injections, and you're like, look,
Right.
man, it's super easy. You don't feel it at all. Like, it's literally a tiny needle. It goes in. You give yourself the injection. Again, same doctor. And he was like, are you on peptides again? I'm like, bro, I started them literally within 2 days of the implement of injury, and like, I'm on them. He's like, I'm not going to tell you to come off of them.
right.
And I'm like, okay, cool. So we go through this whole thing, and they do the reattachment. They cut me up, go through surgery, come back, like, almost no scar tissue buildup. He told me that the health of my tendons was beyond what he thought it was going to be when he found them curled up by my sternum or whatever, right? They reattached everything, and everything was good. They're like, oh, yeah, health is great, whatever, reattachment's good. I'm so far ahead of schedule with the PT by week 6 that the PT fired me. He was like, hey, man, like, there are boundaries on what I can tell you to do based on a timeline, and I was supposed to be at 55 degrees of mobility,
Right.
and I was at 180. And he was like, don't come back for 8 weeks. He was like,
That's
because
awesome.
I can't tell you to do anything for 8 more weeks. He's like, your mobility is good. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And I was sensible. I wasn't like,
Well,
I wasn't
I
in the gym
do-
doing bench press. You know, I was doing the mobility stuff that they wanted me to do. I was doing a lot of band work, building up.
I want to caveat this
Yep.
though with that's not everyone is not going to get the same result. Everyone doesn't have the same background, genetic ability.
But here's, dude, I'm 44.
Yeah,
I had no genetic ability.
Dad.
I don't have genetic ability.
Yeah.
When people are like, oh, it's just genetic ability, like, I was not an athlete when I came into the Army.
What I'm trying to say is,
20s.
not everyone this is not a human-controlled It's not a clinical trial.
No, not at all. But also, this idea that a non-FDA approved process isn't working.
Right.
It works. It's really effective. And everyone I know that plays the game is like I know guys that have had like habitual shoulder injuries, like labrum issues that they've never had surgery for because they don't want to do shoulder surgery on a labrum tear.
Yeah.
That started taking BPC 157 and TV 500 and are like, Like, they don't know dosing because dosing is nebulous. Like, you can't tell people what dosing is because you're not a clinician.
Well, the thing is, I only sell research peptides, so
I get it. We can't tell people what to take. You can't. What I can say is go to Ben Greenfield's site and look at what he says appropriate dosage is.
and find a prescription.
And then get the stuff you want and then
I don't
give it
sell
to
that
yourself.
stuff.
Yeah. The point is, dudes that I know who've overdosed on peptides
Is 0.
who have taken 10 times what they were supposed to take because they
Someone's overdosed on peptides?
No. When I say overdosed, I mean they overdosed themselves. They took more than the appropriate dose for their body weight, right?
What happened?
And they called me and were like, hey, why is it that in the first 3 days I don't feel any pain in my shoulder anymore?
Oh, okay.
And they're like, the thing that has been a problem for me for years suddenly isn't a problem. And I'm like, well, you can't stay on that dose indefinitely and see the same amount of results.
Okay.
But it is making a huge difference almost immediately with a large dose of these peptides.
Yep.
It is helping. Obviously, it's not going to help. It's not like this linear progression where like this much, if you stay on this much, it's going to help you forever. But to be like, hey, take the appropriate dosage for your body weight. A lot of the appropriate dosages for body weight are as researched in animals.
Yeah, well,
Where
I
it's
would
like,
say
and
this.
we research these in cows. So it's like, hey, how many micrograms per pound per person? You know, like, well, it's not per person, it's per cow. But give yourself a dose based on the conventionally accepted wisdom, and then tell me if it helps or it doesn't help. Because we have a lot of anti-aging clinics and a lot of doctors who are prescribing these things now, and they're doing it for $600 a quarter.
An insane amount.
Yeah, an insane amount.
And honestly, they're not educated in the subject.
Because they've
And
literally...
that's okay.
Yeah,
Let's
it's fine.
talk about it. Because there's one thing of like guys will ask for advice about the clinics they go to get these things prescribed to them. And they're like, well, what's a cycle look like? And I'm like, well, there's technically not a cycle.
Yep.
But I would say this. Your body produces things, inflammatory markers, and it tells your body to do stuff. And, you know, peptides
Most people aren't measuring those either.
Well, here's the thing. Like, okay, so peptides are good at, like, reducing inflammation
Certain peptides.
and all that
Yep.
stuff. So a cycle, I wouldn't call it a cycle.
Are you saying 60 days ish?
What I'm saying is
90?
What I'm saying is you don't have to cycle peptides, but your body produces anti-inflammatory signals and things, and maybe it stops doing that after a while if you use something, an adjunct, to help that.
Yep.
So that would be the only reason to dose down, stop, and start.
I'm not even talking about taking them like in perpetuity, but like for me, it
But
was
the
an
thing is-
injury specific thing, right?
If you did a cycle, you would do it you can do it for 6 months, 5 months, whatever. I don't like calling it a cycle.
I've
It sounds like
never
steroids.
done peptides for longer than 3 months.
Right.
And it was always injury.
I would use
related.
it in an acute way. Yeah.
And but what I think is interesting is the same places, the same people are saying, well, doctors aren't prescribing this. It's like, cool, doctors didn't prescribe testosterone for you, and they know testosterone is a naturally occurring hormone that you are deficient in.
Right.
They wanted to give you antidepressants for the way you were feeling when you were testosterone deficient, and when you got exogenous testosterone in your system, you're no longer depressed. So I think what's interesting is, like, if you go to an endocrinologist and an endocrinologist says you're testosterone deficient and you're going to get exogenous testosterone now, most endocrinologists, I'm not going to say all, but in my experience, the endocrinologists that I've dealt with are like, you are testosterone deficient. Here is a prescription for testosterone cypionate. Take this much. Let's titrate you. Let's see where you're at, because we want to get you to a number in the norm.
Yeah.
We're going to give you a prescription for testosterone cypionate. But they're not giving you HCG. They're not giving you
Right.
They're
Other
not
things.
giving you a broad spectrum treatment for your testosterone deficiency, right? And I'm not here to say I hate people who are endocrinologists. I'm just saying that in my experience dealing with endocrinologists, this is a very narrow focused prescription for what's going on.
Yes.
I've gotten much more holistic treatment from anti-aging clinics where there's a doctor who's essentially a bodybuilder he's like, I have this many years of experience with it, and I have thousands of patients that I've administered these treatments
Right.
to, and they've benefited the most from these things. They feel the best when I'm giving them this combination of treatments, those places are open to prescribing
Yes.
peptides alongside of TRT.
At a minimum, they're open to conversation. And the thing is, like, I think there's a middle ground with those two that I wish that it existed, because there's clinics who if you can show up on a Monday and say, I feel like I have low T, they'll give you testosterone
Without testing your blood.
without giving you labs, and then you'll get that, and they'll give you 2 milligrams a week of an aromatase inhibitor, which is overprescribed, by the way.
Yep.
And males need estrogen, so you can't knock your estrogen out. So, and I've got friends who have dealt with this, and they come to me and talk to me about it.
I've been on testacipinate since I was 32. I'm 44, so 12 years nonstop on TRT, right?
Right.
I've never taken HCG because I wasn't concerned about having more kids, etc. So it wasn't like a big deal for me.
But it's not a bad thing to do.
No, it's not. Also to be said, I have been prescribed. Let's see. I've been prescribed. Well, I'm trying to think what the anti-aromatase I had was. It was
Anastrozole.
it wasn't an anastrozole. We'll just say it was an anastrozole for the purposes of this
Right on.
conversation
Yeah.
or whatever. And also I was prescribed clomiphene. And the clomiphene, I think, was helpful in general.
Well, dude, do you know that, like, there's some protocols who, like, if you have low T and you go to an endocrinologist, they'll just prescribe clomiphene itself.
Which is okay. So not to dive into the science too much, but clomiphene's new. Clomiphene is fairly new. Clomid has been a thing.
As a protocol, it's new. It's not a new drug.
Well, clomiphene is a fairly new drug compared to Clomid. Clomid was kind of it used to be that Clomid was the initial treatment for low T. They would test you and see what your FSH and your LH look like, your follicle stimulating hormone, your luteinizing hormone. They'd see where you're at. They'd give you a small dose of Clomid and see if it moved your FSH and LH. And if it did, then they assumed that Clomid was going to boost your testosterone naturally. So they'd give you Clomid, and then you could just take an oral Clomid, period. No injectable testosterone, no pellets, whatever. But it always seemed like a temporary fix. Like, it was like it works for a while, and then you build up.
Clomid and clomiphene is the same thing.
No, clomiphene's different.
Why?
No, clomiphene. So Clomid is.
Manny Bezo.
Yeah, look it up.
Is Clomid and clomiphene the same thing?
No, clomiphene is a different drug than Clomid. Clomid
You may be right.
Yeah,
I just thought it was the
Clomid was
same.
meant to be. Clomid is actually a fertility drug for females who struggle to
Right.
get pregnant, and it actually boosts your estrogen and your testosterone production. It's a dual acting. It acts on two
a
actors.
dual agent.
Clomiphene is a single actor. It's literally the testosterone booster in the Clomid thing without the estrogen booster. Now, I know I'm oversimplifying this because I'm not a doctor,
Yeah.
but clomiphene was developed specifically for treatment for males with a testosterone deficiency, which is why you see all these ads on the internet for like the King fucking, like, it's like some sort of marketed thing where it's like they give you clomiphene and they give you some sort of estrogen blocker and they say this is the King protocol for you to boost your testosterone.
Okay.
In clomiphene is it's not clomiphene, it's in clomiphene is the
in clomiphene.
That's Clomid
okay.
and in clomiphene are two separate
That's
drugs.
what you're saying.
Yeah,
I thought you were
clomiphene.
saying
No,
just with a C.
Yeah, in clomiphene. So, but
You are
in
correct.
clomiphene is
Yeah.
definitely like very focused towards males. It's not like you can crumble it up and put it in your old lady's shit and she's gonna have septuplets, which is what you would have if you gave your old lady clomiphene or
Yes.
Clomid. I mean, just
Yeah.
Clomid. So like, it's been interesting to see the multi-faceted approach to hormone therapy in men, where it's like, okay, now a standard treatment is testosterone of some variety, injectable or pellets or whatever,
Yeah.
in clomiphene, and an anastrozole or some sort of estrogen blocker. It's also interesting that these treatments aren't like broadly medically researched because there's not a ton of a body of evidence, but clinics are gauging the treatment that they're giving based on the way that their clients are feeling and the blood work that they're getting back. And I think a lot of that is the same clinics are open to the idea of peptide therapy and being like, hey, do you feel this way? Do you feel that way?
you gotta be on the forefront.
Do you want to lose some visceral fat? Do you feel like do you have bags under your eyes? Are you losing your hair? Like, okay, we have some peptides that I think might help with that. And it costs an exorbitant amount of money to do it. Also, it's not FDA regulated. So if you decide to do your own research and find those peptides yourself for research, you can buy them on the internet without any real scrutiny, and you can self-administer those things. That
You would never. No, you can't do that. We do not do that.
You can't do that. I think that anyone who hears this podcast can, in fact, do that. The catch is, it's anecdotal at that point. Right. We don't know a way, like, we don't know if it's making a difference or not based on science, because science is a constant learning thing, whatever. Science is a gay word that also told you to get multiple vaccinations.
Holy shit.
All to be
You
said,
said the V word, dude.
a lot of these peptides do work. I don't know which ones don't. And we've talked about that. Like,
Yeah,
I've tried
yeah.
some peptides and I'm like, I don't think it did anything.
Some of them, you know what? They might not.
And
But
I don't know if they universally work on every body type or whatever you have going on.
well, the only thing like you can give someone is this is the science for research, and this is what it says.
But there's not much research around peptides.
And that's why I always say, like, I made a video the other day, like, hey, because people ask like what epitalon does, and I'm like, okay, it can manage your telomeres, it can manage the length of them. This is what the research says. It can help regulate your melatonin release. This is what the research says. It's limited.
But if we look at the research on testosterone, I'm going to use this as a continual baseline, because this is a thing that I think everybody who's watching it can understand, right? When I started taking exogenous testosterone, the Mayo Clinic said that the average range for a normal person, which mind you is 18 to 80. What the fuck does that mean?
Free.
Like, that's free testosterone, 18 to 80, right?
Yeah.
What does that mean? We've measured the
That's
testosterone.
total, meaning what do they normally say? 200 to 1,000.
Yeah, so we'll say total. We'll say total.
Let's talk total.
Yeah, let's talk total, because total is a number most people understand, right? So let's talk about total testosterone.
What we got, Manny?
We're good.
Okay.
I guess just like wrap it up, maybe 10 minutes left.
Oh yeah, we're good. So when we talk about total testosterone, when I started when I was 32, so 12 years ago, the average range, as per the Mayo Clinic, was like 350 to 1150.
Yeah.
We fast forward 12 years, and the average range is now like 200 to 900.
Well, that's also, here's the thing.
So the average person who's being tested from 18 to 80, which also, what kind of span is that? Like,
it's also lab dependent, dude.
But we also know that an 18-year-old is going to naturally have way higher testosterone than an 80-year-old. So why are we measuring a range from 18 to 80? Because we don't test 18-year-olds normally to see what their natural testosterone is. We typically test guys in their 30s and 40s when they're having health problems, and they're like, I don't feel right. And they're like, okay, cool. Now we're seeing a depleted testosterone number. But what I am seeing is over 12 years, the average range of testosterone in an American male 18 to 80 has shifted left 200 points.
It's because they're trying to eat vegetables. Dude.
Well, it's not. I don't mind eating some vegetables. I'm just like, what are we doing that is causing the shift? Like, we are not on the same plane. So yes, it's science. Yes, the numbers support this shift of the left. Is it a good shift? I don't think so. But what I think is worth noting is that when you go to someone that's going strictly off of the range, and they're like, well, you're within normal range. Cool. But I feel like dog shit. Like, I want to kill myself. I'm sad. I don't sleep fucking well. And I'm emotional when I watch movies about my father. You're like, or any father, whatever. It's like, yeah, it's fine to feel that way. I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm just saying you've never felt that way before.
Yeah.
Why do you feel that way now? It's not because you're depressed. You're depressed because your testosterone is low and you're not fulfilling your biological imperative as a male. So let's get you back to where you're supposed to be. So when I talk to doctors and they're like, how do you feel? I immediately am like, thank you. We're having a real conversation now. It's not like, well, you're in normal range and we're not going to do anything. It's like, you don't feel good. Let's give you some testosterone and see how you feel. If this fixes it, then we don't need to put you on antidepressants, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, because your body doesn't make antidepressants. Your body makes testosterone.
All right, out of the 5,000 mistakes you've made, what are the most important ones you think that actually like spun you into success or the man you are today that you don't regret? Let's say that.
I will say this. I have no regrets.
None.
None. I have done
Hear that?
unspeakably bad things in my life as a young man, as a middle-aged man, and who I am now. I've made mistakes. And sometimes I think about those things and I think to myself, I could have done that differently. I don't even know how to approach this. I think that every mistake that I've made has sculpted me into a better version of myself, not because I feel good about the mistakes I've made, because I don't,
Right. Yeah.
but because the mistakes that I've made have highlighted things that I've needed to fix or needed to improve or needed to progress on. And I've made some mistakes that have hurt other people. I feel bad about those things. But I've tried to address them directly. I try to go to the people that I've hurt and apologize and like make amends and do better. But I can't make someone else feel differently about the things that they feel, etc. Right? Like I said, I wasn't going to dive into this. Now I'm like, oh my God, now there's all these specifics.
you got to
No. Not like, I don't want to dive into specifics because I think once you do, it kind of waters down the overall experience.
Yeah.
There was a period in my life where the things that I'd done wrong haunted me. I felt terrible about them, and they sculpted the actions that I took moving forward because it made me feel like I was a certain kind of person and I couldn't be a different kind of person. And I don't think that that was productive. I think that making the next right choice is important, no matter what it is. Even if you've made a myriad of bad choices, the next right choice is important. Sometimes doing the right thing feels like the wrong thing.
Or does it feel natural?
Well, no, it feels like the wrong thing. Like, because other people don't want you to do the right thing. And I think that one of the things that defines us as men, which has been lost in the 21st century, is doing what we know is right versus what everyone else is telling us is right. And just because someone's passing fancies are that we should do a certain thing to make them feel better, it's not necessarily the right answer. And I think that we know it is right. And a lot of the time, the thing that feels the most painful and the thing that feels like the biggest mistake is being indecisive and trying to placate people around us by giving them the things that they want in the moment versus what they need in the long term. And I think that like we should identify what we want in the long term, and we should look at what steps there are to get there, and we should take intentional steps to get to where we want to be. And things that happen along the way that don't lead to where we want to be, like sometimes the path changes. I get that. But in general, like I view us as all as flawed people. Given our own choices, we're going to make bad choices. Like being like, hey, I'm going to make the thing that feels the best to me in the moment. And a lot of the time, denying yourself the thing that you want in the short term for the sake of what you want in the long term, it may not feel like the right thing, but it is the right thing. And being direct and telling people, I'm not going to do the thing you want me to do because it doesn't fit into what I want in the long term is the right thing. I haven't always felt like that. And I think that a lot of the mistakes that I made in life were related to me choosing an easier path for what I wanted in the short term, or what felt good in the short term versus what was beneficial in the long term. Choosing to be in confrontational relationships where like no one was ever going to see eye to eye, and trying to placate them and do things they wanted to do to make everyone happy is only resulting in longer term pain, like unhappiness and confusion. I've made a lot of mistakes, and a lot of the mistakes that I made were self-medication and like wallowing in my own feelings based on being in a place that I didn't want to be, trying to be happy with something that was not going to make me happy. And that led to worse mistakes, doing worse things. When we talk about mistakes, everyone's made them. What defines you is owning them and saying, I screwed up, and what am I going to do about it? Like, I mean, I know it's like some weird oversimplification.
Yeah.
But it really is everything. Like,
being able to identify the things that you've done wrong.
well, and when they say, right, like, if you don't have an asshole neighbor, you are the asshole neighbor, right? Same thing in relationships where it's like, well, I'm happy. Nobody else around me is happy. You're the problem, dog. That blade cuts both ways, though, right? Like, did you choose to be around a bunch of people that are unhappy people? Did you choose to surround yourself with people that, like, are not on the same wavelength as you, and you're trying to fit in, and you're doing things intentionally or unintentionally to fit into a group of people that you don't belong in? It's hard to say. What I will say is that there are a series of things that we typically do as a community to cope with big feelings that we don't know how to deal with. Like, I think, like, alcoholism, toxic relationships, drugs, those are all forms of self-medication for bigger problems, right? Like, I know when I started going to therapy, it was like, well, I'm going to therapy because I saw combat, and I haven't really talked about the things that happened when I was in combat because, like, that's my job. What I found in therapy was that, like, the things that happened to me in combat didn't really affect me emotionally. I had feelings about the loss of friends or things that have happened, but they were things that were fairly easy to address. What was harder to address were things that had happened to me when I was a kid. Not necessarily the worst things in the world, but things that, like, I never really dealt with. Feelings of inadequacy, pursuing, like, I have historically pursued relationships with women who I felt I wasn't worthy of being with, without recognizing that they were also human people. I put them on a pedestal, and then I pursued them, and then when they became normal human beings, I punished them for not being what I thought they were, and I punished myself for not meeting their expectations. And then I started to be like, well, I'm going to do what I think is right. That hasn't always sat right with everybody either. But what I will say is that I can look in the mirror and I can be confident that I made the right choice. I know that I made bad decisions within those sometimes. Like, I didn't always do the right thing, but I know the moment I didn't do the right thing, and I can address it and fix it. As opposed to being in this spinning miasma of, like, bad decisions where I don't know what the inflection point was where I did the wrong thing. Like, it's all so bad, you know, like, oh, I did these bad things and then I drank because I was trying to, like, make myself feel better. Or I met some girl who told me I was perfect and she made me feel better about myself because I didn't feel good about myself. And, like, I think the turning point for me, I don't know what it was, but I know that I did a lot of wrong things in my first marriage to make myself feel better. And every time I looked in the mirror, I saw exactly what my first wife saw, which was someone who let her down all the time, who did the wrong thing, who made himself feel better. And when I would look in the mirror, I didn't feel good about myself. And I went to a lot of therapy. And while I still probably don't meet the expectations of my first wife, which is fine, because we're not a good match. We're really great at co-parenting. She's she's her own person, and I respect what she does. I was probably 37 or 38, and I looked in the mirror one day after a bunch of therapy, and I was like, I like me. I never thought I would be in that place. When it happened, I was like, what the fuck is this?
That is a very true statement.
It's shocking to like yourself.
Trying to find that you like yourself.
But you know how you like yourself? By doing appreciable things that are challenging and you win at. Like, and that means applying yourself to doing those things well. And it does, I mean, it can be board games, shooting, whatever it is. Have a hobby, have a thing that you're good at, that you focus on and that you excel at, that you can be proud of. Not compromising in a relationship. If you're in a relationship with somebody who wants something different than you, being like, this isn't going to work out. We have different goals. If you have kids with somebody, subverting your own desires for the sake of raising children well. Being like, oh, I'm in a relationship with someone who has parallel but different goals. Can we make this work? Like, is it so diametrically opposed that we're never going to see eye to eye? That happens. But in general, I think a lot of people get wrapped up in the fact, well, I'm not happy. This person doesn't fulfill me. That person will never fulfill you. It doesn't matter who the person is. You fulfill yourself. people take that the complete opposite direction where they're like, oh yeah, I fulfill myself. It's all about me. It's like, oh, well, I'm not happy because I'm not making myself happy. And I need to take more vacations and do more stuff that focuses on me. And you're like, no. You need to externalize your focus of effort and do more for other people, which will make you feel satisfied and happy.
The people that are important.
Yes. And also people who aren't important.
That too.
Like,
you learn from that.
Where it's like, hey, there's people that need grace and your help that you don't know and you don't appreciate, that aren't valuable. Now, you can't spend so much time on those people that you don't focus on your kids and your wife, et cetera, which is complicated, but the balance is the hard part, right? But like, two people will never fully satisfy each other, no matter how in sync they are, no matter how much they love each other, no matter what. Two people focused entirely on each other are just two people. Like, those two people focusing on each other, it's the same as focusing on yourself. It's a kind of a narcissism.
It
where
turns
it's like,
into that.
Yeah, and you realize the other person, no matter how perfect they are going to let you down. And that's normal. When people talk about community, when people talk about this and that, like, the sense of identity that we have as SF guys comes from the fact that we're in a community of people who typically understand each other. We can get mad at each other. We can be honest with each other. It sucks. It's every deployment, right? You go on a deployment, you're with your best friends. It's going to be the coolest thing that's ever happened. You disappoint each other. You do things that are counter to each other's desires and needs. You fight. You create animosity over a 6-month period, and you don't ever want to see them again when the deployment is over. And then you give it 3 months.
Miss them.
Yeah, you give it 3 months and you're like, damn, dude. Hey, man, I was a real dick that time. Also, like, kind of miss you. And everything kind of gets fixed. But it's because of communication and acceptance of your own role in the conflict and being like, yo, I think I was unreasonable too. And then everybody comes back together. And those are things on a broader sense that we should put into play in all of our relationships, to be like, we're all flawed. But the only reason that we have value in relationships is we bring something to the table. So keep bringing something to the table. Keep doing these things. Keep being productive. No matter how many mistakes you make, fall down 9 times, stand up 10. I don't care. As long as you keep standing up and keep moving forward and keep trying to do something better, you're going to be fine. It's when you get knocked down 9 times and you decide to lay down and then be like, these people did this to me. I'm a victim. And you're like, nah, man. Like, we're all victims of ourselves. Like, our own fucking efforts, our own worst fucking side effects, everything. And it's like, I get it. You want to escape it? You want to do something. Don't escape it. Touch it. Feel it. Move the fuck on. Like, I could beat myself up about the things I did in my first marriage until I was blue in the face. I was not a good husband. I'm a great co-parent with my first wife. We get along well. We are not a good match. You know, I respect her. I believe she respects me. We're raising 2 girls together as best we can.
You learn a lot about yourself.
And it's not perfect. And by God, I'm way less perfect than she is in a variety of ways. It's fine. But I've come a long way and had a lot of growth. And I think it's worth noting that a lot of time when you have real growth, the person that you wanted to like you for your growth may resent you and not like you because of your changes. But you can look in the mirror and know that you did the right thing and not feel bad about it. You can feel bad about a loss of a relationship or the space that's been created there. But that's not because you've been a bad person. It's just because you've grown into different things. And it may be that the person that you were with before liked you when you were broken because it validated who they were.
Well, that's what we're here for. To learn about the broken pieces, to learn about the mistakes.
Well,
right?
and frankly, like, the people that I resent in the world the most are the people that say they haven't made mistakes. The people who are like, I'm a winner, I'm a winner, I'm a winner. And you're like, no, you're not. You didn't get here that way. Nobody's that way. And if you are, you're fucking fragile. Like, if you've never lost, I can't wait to see how you deal with the first loss in your life because it's going to break you. Resilience is the most important aspect of humanity, period. Your ability to rebound from mistakes and disaster. If you don't have resilience, if you've never experienced failure, you are not a resilient person. I see it. in a lot of guys where it's like, I've wanted everything I've ever touched. And the first thing they lose, they're just broken. They're not useful anymore. There are people who are like, they're just hung up on the thing they screwed up on. And you're like, dude, when you ask what mistakes I've made, I have never succeeded in a single thing in my life without fucking it up first. I failed out of college. I failed the Q course. I wasn't that good a team guy when I first started. I didn't know what I was doing. Every single thing I've done, I failed at being a good parent, and I rebounded and tried to figure out how to be a better parent. My daughters might give you a different story. Like sometimes dad's a jerk. Yeah. But also every time I'm a jerk, I'm like, hey, I'm sorry I didn't meet your expectations. I don't know what you wanted, but these are the things that are important to me in raising you as your dad. How does that sync with the things that make you feel bad when I express that to you? Like, be honest. Tell me what's upsetting. And if it's something that's unreasonable, I tell them it's unreasonable. If it's not something that's unreasonable, I'm like, I screwed up and I'm sorry.
Well, the good thing is the contest of life is not graded on all spectrums the same. And the good thing is you've got chances continuously to change that, right?
Well, we're only here for a little bit of time.
A little bit of time. And I think that you're doing great.
Well, I mean, I don't think there's a scoreboard.
There's not.
The scoreboard
you
is...
have your own scoreboard.
It's in our head,
That's
right?
Exactly right.
And if you continually think that you're failing, you're going to keep failing.
Right.
You have... It's the same thing as like when we get a partner force, confidence targets come first. So if you feel like you're failing across the board at things, you need to pick little things, find small victories, win the small victories, see what patterns are working, and keep picking up the pace. Choose larger targets, approach things, but don't come in there and be like, well, I want to change everything. Good luck. It's not going to work, for anything. Yeah. Like when guys tell me like guys are struggling with addiction and stuff, and I'm like, and they're like, well, how did you quit drinking? I was like, well, I did a terrible thing. And it was so bad that I was like, I can't do this thing at all anymore. And for a period of time, I did not drink at all because I recognized that alcohol was in the way. Alcohol was an escape where I just used it as a crutch. But after 3 years of sobriety and being like, well, alcohol wasn't my problem, I was my problem. I can socially drink and I can have small amounts and have a good time with friends without it being a problem. Not to say that's the same for everybody. Right, but when people are like, well, how did you quit? I'm like, I just didn't drink anymore because I recognized it was a problem.
You fix it.
Yeah. It's like, oh, well, I constantly find myself in bad relationships. You're part of the problem. Stop choosing bad relationships. Stop choosing relationships, period. Focus on yourself. Go to therapy. Read a damn book. You know what I mean? Like, do something that isn't what you were focusing your time on. Get off the internet. Stop talking to random hoes. Do whatever it is that helps you, but don't engage in the same practices that led you to the thing that left you feeling unfulfilled. That's it.
Yeah.
And so when we say like, oh, great mistakes, the mistakes are crossed out for a reason. It's not like we stop making mistakes. It's just that you learn from the mistakes and maybe you don't make them 10 times. Probably going to make them 9.
Let's not make it 11. Who knows? Yeah. However long it takes.
But understand that the patterns break with you. Period. Like, there's no other excuse. Well, it's not that everyone else is making your life miserable. You are making your life miserable. And, like, I always point to Dick Prinky. You know who Dick Prinky is?
Tell me about him.
Dick was a legend. He just disappeared into the wilderness and built a log cabin. He had an old film camera, lived with the animals. He was gone for, like 30 or 40 years. Just disappeared. Dick made himself happy there. He was a happy dude. In his cabin, came back to society, wasn't that happy, went back. I'm pretty sure he died in Alaska. I'm not sure what his actual thing was. I think he may have actually died in civilization. Either way, like his happiness was not everyone's happiness. Some people want to be in a happy relationship with somebody for extended period of time. Some people just want to be alone. But identifying what makes you happy and pursuing it with abandon will make you feel satisfied. You will not damage other people around you when you are pursuing a good passion. If your passion is cocaine, you might have a problem.
Let it not be that.
It all ends like Scarface at that point, right?
Well, Doug, we're short on time.
Yep.
I'm glad you came out.
Brother, it was a blast. Thank you for having me so much.
I love you.
Dude, I love you too, dude.
I can't wait to see you again.
And I can't wait to be invited back if you do.
I think that we got a lot out. We aired a lot of shit out. a lot more to air out.
Yep.
And
Well, we have half of our topics that were written down. We haven't addressed, so we have to do part 2.
We'll keep them for next time. All right. This is Doug. Great mistakes. We'll see you next time.